problem with any industry, it's not just real estate, is people think so traditionally, right? When you think outside of the box, you can really make a lot of money, and in a way smarter and better way. It's all about being smarter in this world, right? It's not about working harder. Of course you should work hard, but it's all about working smarter.
It's really hard to believe sometimes we're gonna make it. Success, money, and power, all that, we're gonna get it. Don't try to be like us, it's better.
What is up, duck hunters? And in this video, we're going to talk about why a live workspace might make the most sense to your brokerage. You know, you've decided to start a brokerage. You may be looking for office space, right? Like a commercial lease. That way you can have an office to house like 12 agents or more. And that can get really expensive, right? I think that a remote brokerage sort of makes the most sense for a lot of ways. I think everything remote makes a lot of sense, right? I found an exciting way, right? An awesome duck hunter way of getting basically office space, which alleviates a lot of the major risks, right? So let's identify what the major risks are when you're starting to look for a commercial space. The big major risks in starting any kind of signing any kind of commercial lease to have an office is that, number one, the lease terms are so long with commercial, right? It's not like a residential lease that's a year. And so, you know, it's just long, right? Like minimum is 3 years, and some when you look at some commercial offices that are for lease, and you want to lease it, you know, some landlords and owners will just tell you no, right? If you're trying to sign a 3-year lease, they'll just go, sorry, 5 minimum. So typically 5 years is the minimum, and then 10 years is normal. They can even do 15 years plus, right? And so you're probably not going to want to lock down and be responsible for payments, right? And for 10 years or for 5 years. And even if you're a really good negotiator and you negotiate down to 3 years, you know, now you're going to have a premium on top of your normal monthly rent, right? Because it's way shorter. It's 3 years, not standard minimum 5 years. You know, so it's kind of scary because it's like your business really has to make it, you know, or not. It's like you're stuck with these payments for 3 years. You know, and even if you default, you know, you're probably in normal contracts, just to be realistic with it, you're probably going to guarantee those payments, just like when you rent anything, right? It's like if you break your lease in a residential 1-year contract, like an apartment, you know, you're responsible for the rest of the terms, right? And they might not even let you out for realistically, right? Of the 3 or 5 year contract, they might not even let you out. There might not be a relating fee option at all. It's like, hey, if you default, you got to pay up, right? Like all 5 years in payments. And that's how you get out of it, because that's what you guaranteed. And so if there is some kind of cancellation or early termination fee, I've seen them before. I had a friend that started a brokerage, and he did a commercial lease. It wasn't even a prime location too. So the other thing is that the price is high, right? It's high monthly rent, right? So he chose a commercial lease, and it wasn't a super prime location, right? If you're familiar with the Austin market, it was like where McNeil meets Palmer Lane. So yeah, it wasn't a bad location because Palmer and McNeil, you know, by that newer HEB, it's not a bad location. But he was like behind the Chipotle. Chipotle is really popular over there. So if you guys are familiar with the North Austin market, you kind of understand. But it was at one point it was behind that Chipotle, so he had like no visibility, right? But it was a nicer, newer office, and they were willing to do, I think it was still a 5-year lease. It was a 5 or he might have negotiated for a 4-year lease contract, and so it was still 4 years. And he started a brokerage there, but like the traffic, since he was right in front of that Chipotle building, there was like no off-street traffic. They wouldn't let him put signs, you know. So one thing is the signage. Think about the signage. So the reason they wouldn't let him put up signs right off the access road is because it was like some zoning thing, right? Like it was like very, very limited sign spots, and there was no spots left. So he didn't have good signage. He wasn't right off the access road. So he had like 0 walk-ins. which is like, in my opinion, if you're gonna do an office, like at least get walk-ins, right? Because that's something you can't get remotely, which to me, if your marketing is on point in the way I teach, it doesn't matter at all. But if you're gonna do an office, in my opinion, so you might as well have some walk-ins, because that's free organic traffic. Anyhow, he had no walk-ins, he was behind a building, no signage, and he was under a 4-year contract, right? And it was his first time starting a brokerage, right? And so he had money saved up, but like starting a business is hard, right? You have to recruit the agents, know how to do that effectively. He didn't know a lot about the marketing tactics that we talked about, and so his business unfortunately did not thrive in the way that it should have. And he was also the rent over there was about I believe it was $4,000 a month, because it was a very, very nice office. It was actually two levels. I think the whole thing was like was it 1,200 square feet? I think it was 1,200 or 1,400 square feet. It had like a 2 levels, nice retail center, and I think you could fit like 12 desks in there, right? So then 12 agents, right? So you calculate that into your business revenue. Anyhow, he couldn't recruit enough agents, and he was hit with this $4,000 a month. Actually, it was less than $4,000 a month, because he invoiced his own lease. So I think that took off some, it helped him free up a few $1,000s, so that helped. But anyhow, the rent was high, right? Because every normal, if you want like a 1,400 square foot office, like in Austin, if you look at like the commercial market, for the area he was in at the time, it was like $25 a square feet. And sometimes in Austin, you see if it's like a really prime area, like not even super prime, like Domain or Arboretum or Central or downtown, but if it's just like a nice, clean, new retail center, sometimes I've seen $35 a square feet. So like it's expensive, right? I grabbed my calculator here to kind of help you put this into perspective. But $25 per square feet at 1,400 square feet, divided by 12. So it's about $3,000 a month. That seems about right. $3,000. I think they were asking $4,000, but then they got $25 a square feet, and then he freed up a couple thousand. So it was like $3,000 a month. That makes sense for that size. And so, but when he broke his lease, they didn't have like a early cancellation like clause or anything in the contract, and so it took him like. They were going back and forth with negotiations, right? Because remember, real estate's cool because it's super custom, but you got to be careful, because if you default, you really have to read that contract. So for him, it was like he had to pay the majority of the rest of the lease is what was in his contract, right? Because he guaranteed those payments, and so I think he was like 6 months in before they shut down, and so I think they were asking like something like 25 grand, and so they negotiated back and forth, and then they agreed on $15,000 just to get out of the lease, right? And so $15,000 just to stop doing business, is a lot of money. So it's high rent, like $3,000 a month usually is what he got, and that wasn't even super prime. And then it's you might, because the lease term is so high, like 3 or 5 years, you really might get hit with a very, very hardcore reletting fee, right? And even after negotiations, so that kind of steers people, steers them away, right? Because that's a lot of risk, right? And so what I figured out finally, was that if you call around, guys, in some multifamily apartment buildings, right, there's something called a live workspace, right? And basically what that is, right, it's like this little small niche that a lot of people don't even know about it, and it's like few units on the first floor of these mid-rises typically is where I see these live workspace condo like things, multifamily units. It's just like a normal apartment complex, except it's right off, it's in like a really prime location within the building that has like street access view, right? So, and then they also allow you to put your own custom sign in the walkway. Usually there's like a walkway, and they're just normal apartment units that are on the first floor. So what's amazing about this is that you're legally able to run a business, like it's zoned for it and everything, right? But it's an apartment complex. So what does that tell us, right? Basically, you don't need a lot of square feet to fit in 10 efficient desks, right? Like 10 agents in that 1 or 2 bedroom, right? You just need like 1,000 square feet. And so what we've realized is they offer these 2 bedrooms. You can even get a 2-2, and then it's like 1,200 square feet, right? So then you can fit like 12 desks in there, right? And you also have a kitchen, which is cool, right? And so if you just turn that unit, and they're laid out where they look more commercial, that's the whole point of them anyways. The multifamily buildings in Austin and in other markets, they market these units and they make them look more commercial, right? So like the finishes you'll see are more commercial-ish looking, even though it's an apartment unit, but they're on the first floor and they're like have really awesome location. It's a 2-bedroom price point, guys, and on top of that, remember, you can invoice your own lease, right? And so I see a lot of these live work apartment units that you guys can turn into offices. You know, they're usually mid-rise and nice properties is where I see them a lot. So that's nice. The office looks nice. You have a dedicated signage spot that you put on the sidewalk and people will actually see it. So that solves that problem, right? And the lease term, remember, on an apartment lease is 1 year, which is unheard of in any other commercial lease, right? And so it solves that problem. So it's a 1-year lease, and I'm going to show you in some cases it's even less, right? So you can sign a 1-year lease or so, and a 2-bedroom price point in lots of these centrally located. I see some in South Central in Austin, and we're going to look at an example right now, but you know, they're in prime locations right off the access road, and it's like less than $2,000 a month, and a lot of the times they pay crazy commissions because it's like a normal, nice mid-rise in South Central Austin, right? And in other markets like South Central Urban Core, so the commissions are going to be good, and then you can prorate that into your 1-year lease and then take off like hundreds of other dollars, right? And so if you do this correctly and look at all the terms, you guys can pay like a fraction of the cost for a good location, commercial space that you can turn into an office, and it's cheap and it's nice and it's enough square footage, 1,200 square feet or 1,000 or 900, depending on how you get a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, and you can get it done and run a whole business that way in a way more less risk manner with probably even better location, right, than like behind buildings, right? Like I gave you an example, $3,000 a month, and it was not even a prime location, and that's standard. And so that is the solution. So you guys should definitely be getting excited about this because it's actually realistic now to start a brokerage, right? This is like the smartest, one of the coolest duck hunts I've ever presented, right? And so we're gonna look at some exact examples. But it gets really, really interesting when you can start playing around with the lease term, right? Because a lot of the times you'll see, let me just pull it up right now as I'm explaining this. All right, so check this out, guys. So this apartment is called the 704, right? So they definitely offer these live workspace units, right? And sometimes they're 2 bedrooms. Like look at this, for instance, a 2-2, 1241 square feet, right? 12 something, 11 something, 12 something. So it's enough size to fit a dozen agents in there, right? You just turn in the rooms or one room in the living room, everything into offices. It's so awesome, right? And check out the location. So this one's in South Central Austin, right? You can easily find these in Austin, easily find these in other markets. In San Antonio, I've seen some. You can find these everywhere, and it makes so much more sense, and no one's doing it for real estate. I always see, when you walk up and down here, and guys, I'm gonna get a video, right? I'll just go to South Central and start recording on my phone or something, and I'm gonna show you guys literally in front of some of these units, right? Because I really want you guys to see. But it's like you see all these shops and it's like makeup shops, like flower shops, like no one in real estate is doing it, right? And so that's why I want to teach it. It's so exciting because everyone in real estate, you know, the problem with any industry, it's not just real estate, is people think so traditionally, right? When you think outside of the box, you can really make a lot of money, and in a way smarter and better way. It's all about being smarter in this world, right? It's not about working harder. Of course you should work hard, but it's all about working smarter. And so check this out, guys. So South Lamar Boulevard. So South Lamar in Austin's like a hot spot. You know what I mean? Look at this, Barton Hills, right? Like so much traffic right here. And look where this is located. All right, and so it's right off South Lamar, and so these live workspace units are like here, and so you put your sign here on the sidewalk, and everyone sees your signs. It's like super prime commercial leasing, right? Like you couldn't ask for a better spot, especially if you want to be South Central of Boston, which is a popping area. And then you can get, you can get like downtown traffic, South Central traffic. It's just a great location. And I think there's another Windsor property that's closer to like downtown that also offer it. I'm gonna go up there and actually record it. But there's some around here too, which is like really close to downtown that do the same thing. And they're off South Congress, 1,200 square feet. And so, 1,900 or so. But this is what's really exciting, all right? And so, check this out, right? Right now the commission's not good, but like I said, it always fluctuates. So look, it's saying 250 here, but look, then it says 500 if you escort. I've seen this place at 125% for the longest time ever. So we're in May right now. It just depends, right? A lot of the times, in my opinion, some of the highest commissions ever come around Christmas time, like December. That sort of thing. A lot of people, in my opinion, a lot of families don't like to move during Christmas, during holiday, because like, why would you move during holiday unless you have to? Like, that's the time where you're putting up decoration, all that stuff, families coming over. So you just want to like postpone your moving, right, till after the holidays. And in December, I always see super high commissions. They're like, oh my God, no one's moving. Like, come on, 150%, 125%, 100% commission and a bonus. So the point is, I saw, this is one example, but there's tons of them. You just have to call around and ask for live workspaces. And at one point, guys, this was 125% commission, right? But pay attention, right? We're not done yet. Pay attention. They would pay, in this specific example, right now it's $500 a fee, but if you wait till December, it might be 125%. You invoice your own unit, and look at this, 9-month term. All right, and they'll still pay you like the escort commission on a 9-month term. And so when you do a 9-month, I called this place before. When you do a 9-month term over like a year term, which is pretty standard, so let's say we found this 2-2 and it's a live workspace on the first floor. It's available. It says 1823. So that 1823 will probably be turned into like. It'll probably be turned into like 1950 instead of 1820 because you're paying a little bit more of a premium with a little bit shorter release term. Sometimes it won't even jump up that high. Sometimes from 1800 it'll be like 1900, right? Is what I see a lot. So let's say 1900. All right, so 1900 is the price, and you've called around and you've waited and you've called other buildings and you finally found one that's available. So 1900, and it's a 2-2. And you're gonna do a 9-month lease, okay? So do a 9-month lease, and they're gonna pay you, let's just say 100%, and I'm probably sure it'll be higher in December. So if you get 100% of that, that's $1,900 of commission, right? So if you take that $1,900 of commission, and if you're working under a broker, they should give you your lease, at least your own property commission, like 100% to you. If not, like, the broker you're working for is not cool at all. I definitely would do that for anyone, right? Like if you're leasing your own apartment, typically brokers will give you all of that commission because it's yours, it's not a client. And so you take that $1,900, divide that by 9, the lease term that you sign, 9 months, so you can prorate $211 off of the monthly effective rent. So if you're at $1,900 and you subtract $211, you're paying $1,689 base rent, and now you're in a 9-month lease term, which avoids all kind of long-term risks, right? You're in a prime location in a mid-rise that's like 2015 built, so it's nice, right? And then you're right off the access road with a dedicated signage. So this is like the ultimate leasing office for a startup like me or you, right? We've saved up some money, but we really want to start a brokerage because that's what you're passionate about, but you want to do it and minimize all risk and also make it affordable, so it's $1,689, not $3,000, right, like before. So, way less rent. It's zoned for commercial, so you can absolutely run a real estate brokerage in a live workspace, even though I see no one doing this. And you can make it happen, guys, and you're in a 9-month lease term. So that's how you really may want to consider that, because where else can you get a nice mid-rise style and you get all the amenities? And the cool thing is you can keep, if it's what I would do is a lot of the times, you know, when we're first starting off as real estate agents, we're probably in an apartment is probably where we live, right? If you're a serious hardcore go-getter, you know, which you should be, what you should do is wait for a 2-2, you know, lock the door, one of the bedrooms, just make it where you sleep, right? Because you still get a shower and a kitchen. You can live there is my point, right? So during work hours, just lock it, you know, or get up early and like lock your bedroom door. And so you've got your bedroom and all your stuff and your private bathroom, and then just run an office out of like your living room and the other room. Just put desks in there and have phones set up, and you know, just run a brokerage, have a printer. And then live there, right? So then you're knocking out two things, right? You can live there comfortably because it's a nice, you know, it's a nice place. You might want to throw a couch in there for like a waiting room, whatever you want to do for your business. But you can live there in one of the rooms and still have 1,000 square feet worth of desk space where you can provide desks for your other agents. And remember, when you operate a real estate brokerage, not all of your agents are going to show up full time. Even if you have 15 agents, you know, maybe 6 of them might show up actually, because a lot of them are going to figure out working remote makes a lot more sense. That's what I've been preaching throughout this whole course, guys. But my point is, you can run a seriously viable business, right? And what's also cool is, hey, your neighbors around you are in apartments, right? And then you can build a relationship with the leasing office, right? So it doesn't have to end there, right? So you can go to the leasing office and go, hey, why would you not go to the leasing office and go, hey guys, like, please, like, here are some $50. First of all, give them all gift cards, right? Lease it. You don't care anyways because you're like saving so much money compared to a commercial lease. So give them all $50 gift cards. The manager, all the leasing agents, all the on-site assistant managers, give them $50 gift cards. Buy them Chipotle or something, and be like, hey guys, like, we are in this unit, and they're gonna treat you abnormally better because you are basically a tenant. So like they have to treat you nice. And so just spoil them, right? And then start building that relationship with the leasing office and go, guys, like, I think you're probably chances are going to be the only real estate company there in the live workspace. So go, hey guys, like, we're a real estate apartment locating company. Like, please send us your traffic. Like, we're your tenant. Enjoy these gift cards. You know, like, please, if you guys have traffic that come in and you guys don't have units available for them, or it's a bad time, like, here are all of our cards, give them brochures, and be like, just send them to unit number 204. Like, we're on the first floor, just send them over. Like, because remember, guys, people come into these nice mid-rises with big budgets. No one's going to walk into a mid-rise in an urban South Central Austin, for example, right? This is a 704. No one's going to walk into the 704 expecting the rent to be cheap. And so if they come in and go, hey, we need a 2-bedroom like tomorrow, and they don't have any because they're booked out, right? They're leased out, then, you know, have them come to you. And so then all they do, you know, the leasing office go, yeah, just go to a unit 204. It's actually right in front of the leasing office on the outside. You'll see the sign. And then you guys can get traffic, like organic traffic of walk-ins, right? Extra walk-ins that will come to you. You know, you'll get walk-ins and people just walk in anyways. But you can now build that relationship with the leasing office, and it just makes your understanding, right? I'm getting really excited, but I don't know why, but a lot of like apartment locating companies and real estate brokerages, they just don't do this. I don't ever see it happen. Hey, what's up, guys? Look, I'm here inside the Windsor South Lamar parking garage. I just parked, and I want to show you these live workspaces, right? And so we're in South Central Austin right now, but look how cool these units are. So look, Windsor South Lamar, there it is right there. Very, very, I mean, look at all this traffic, guys, right? So imagine, you know, setting up like a real estate brokerage in one of these things with over 1,000 square feet, which is plenty. And look at this. So you've got people walking in, you know, very nice sidewalk, very popping area. You've got people that walk into the office, you know, that are just normally, you know, organically interested in leasing. And so you've got the staff right there. You know, so you walk over and build a relationship with them the same way we talked about. But let me show you these actual units. Okay, so these are all the live workspace units, right? Look how pretty this is. I can see a sign right there. And so it's cool because, you know, a lot of the times you are able to put signage out here somewhere. It's all kind of built in. They thought of that. Just check these out, right? So then it's a mid-rise, Windsor South Lamar. There's an entrance to the office. And look how pretty this is too. Like, pay attention to the flooring, you know, very nice construction. And then look at these units. So look, deep tissue massage. This is a unit, guys. It's an apartment, so you can do a 9 to 12 month lease terms. And look how nice and commercial they look. You know, it's not like a typical apartment door. You know, they've got like more windows. It just looks more commercial, and it's all a walkway, right? And so, you know, of course, all of the marketing and your appointments are going to be just based on online marketing, obviously. But it's not bad to have, you know, to be so close to the access road, and you know, and you're able to put signs out here. And so if you take a look at some of these businesses, let's see, Private Capital Nexus, lending. So it's like a lender company. Look how cool that is, right? Social Media Week. Let's see what this is right here. Best Practice Media, maybe like an SMMA or something, a social media marketing agency. But look, like this one's vacant. You know, why not put a brokerage right there? You know, forget about a 5-year lease term. That sounds really risky. So check these out. You know, I just want to really show you what they look like. But they're beautiful, aren't they? And you can live in a unit. You know, just wait and call around until you get a 2-2, live in a unit, and then have your business in another live workspace. You know, but you don't see, there's no real estate. Isn't that crazy, guys? We're in a really popular area right now. And sure, these units are limited, you know, but there's no real estate. Are you kidding me right now? A massage place? Come on now. Like, you're in an urban core location close to downtown and South Central. Imagine building relationships with all these buildings, right? Like there, let me show you Lamar Union. Boom, Lamar Union. I once almost closed 20 units for a commercial client at Lamar Union, and then they said no, and I lost 50 grand. But anyhow, you know, imagine building relationships. And look, you've got the front office right here. And, you know, just tell them like, hey, just walk outside the door, go to the real estate office. They're open for business. Boom. $1,600 and a year lease term or less sounds really, really good. I try to see if I could put a sign like right here, right? Like a big, you know, a big sign, and try to get all this traffic. So anyways, guys, it's raining out here, but I just wanted to show you that in person. This is one option, right? Remember, we talked about the 704. You can do it there. There's so much traffic right now. Oh my God. It's realistic, right, to start a brokerage now. I'll see you on the next one, duck hunters. And just look how close the street is to these live work units, right? So that there's one right here. So that's like as close as you're gonna get to the access road, right? Look, CBD, they sell CBD oil and stuff. And you know, it's the 704. So this is an apartment complex, but these units are super live work, right? All right, let's peek into here. Let me see if I can show you. It's locked, but you know, so it's like a normal apartment unit, but check out the windows. You know, super commercial looking on the outside, and then they allow you to put a sign up here, right? I would probably invest in a giant sign and put it right here, but like, check this out, right? And it's like, right, it's basically a first floor unit. They just look commercial. So when people walk up and down here, because this area is just, you know, it's pretty popular, they're gonna see your business. Look how nicely designed this one is, right? Look at that. And look, they've got a sign up right there. You know, so this is a second example of a live work unit, right? And so, you know, we've saw some CBD oil stuff, like look, it's a tattoo. See, they've got a good idea. I don't know why more of these businesses don't put up giant signs. I would put up a sign like 4 times that size, as long as they allowed it. It's like a salon, waxing. Like, are you guys kidding me? There's no real estate? You know, there's no real estate, guys. And I'm telling you, this is the second example now, right? Austin's a really hot city. Same with other markets. And if it's like this in Austin, it's going to be like this in other markets, right? Like all these cool businesses, but I don't see any real estate brokerages, right? So like, why wouldn't you start, you know, why would you not start an apartment locating brokerage or just a normal real estate brokerage, put them right here, right? And then build a relationship with you know, the leasing office. And look at, I mean, you get the idea, right? It's a Sunday. Tons of traffic still. In real life, right? We're not just teaching in theory. I'm actually showing you some of these units in real life. You know, it's a Class A property, right? Mid-rise, and you can still live in it, right? So then you can pay for your rent and your business at the same time, you know, while still enjoying the amenities. All right, duck hunters, I'll see you on the next one.